Welcome into this week's edition of Tauros Weekly. I'm your host, Ken Oda. Nick Holberg is out this week, so joining me here is assistant coach Nigel Bay. We'll get right into it, Nigel.
Thanks, Ken.
A split on the weekend. How are you guys feeling coming out of that?
Well, I think a big thing for us, Austin is going to call it a success. A big part as a road team is you want to come in and split. For us, we had a good effort on Friday, and we came up short on Saturday. So not a whole lot we can do about that now other than bounce back and a good preparation week here leading in, and we'll go for Game 3.
Recap the games quickly. Friday night, Tauros win 3-1. Murphy with 2 goals. Christian Mose with the game winner sandwiched between those. And then on Saturday night, Tauros fall 4-1. That fourth one, though, was an empty netter. And Nigel, looking at it, special teams played a huge factor. The game that we won, 2 for 15, got picked up 2 power plays, went 2 for 15 on the weekend. Austin goes 3 for 9 on the power play, getting 3 power play goals on Saturday night's win. How much will special teams continue to play a factor, do you think, going forward?
Well, special teams is huge, and the numbers don't lie there. But a few little breakdowns that led to big things for us, and that's the nice part in this league is you get 4 days off in between games that we can be on the ice and correcting those things and whatnot. So we look to be sharper on the PK. Shutting them down this weekend, and at the same time look to produce more. We did have some good movement at times on our power play, and just look to that finish for this weekend.
As much of a role as special teams played over this weekend, and we think will continue to play going forward, how important is it for guys not to get sucked in? Austin seems like is one of those teams that loves to start stuff after whistles. A lot of hits that are borderline or late. How much is it important for the guys to just focus on playing our speed game?
Well, I think a big thing for us on Friday night, you saw it, our composure was great on Friday. The guys, they stuck to the game plan and stayed away from that. There was a few questionable hits or what have you. Those things happen in the first 60 games of the season, and our guys did a great job of not letting that add up to anything. And then on Saturday we got into a little bit of penalty trouble, and we let the ref kind of control the game and let at times our emotion get the best of us. So again, it's a learning thing. We know the reffing's probably going to be similar this weekend. You never know what's going to happen as far as penalties go, but a big part of our game is going to keeping our composure and playing between the whistles.
One reason I think for Tauros fans not to worry is looking at road success over the last 2 seasons. This year, 4th best road record in the league, 18-9-3. Last year, we were the 2nd best road team, 21-7-2. What do you attribute that success on the road to?
It's $1 million question, Ken. I think last year we were almost to the point where we were going to pick the guys up at a neutral site with the bus and bring them to the rink. We never did that, but we're sharp on the road, and it works out that way. We like to win in other places and other barns and stuff, and the nice part about this weekend, there's a lot of players get to have their families there too, so it's almost like having a home crowd when it's close to the cities. I know that you guys have talked about the numbers of Minnesota guys in this room before, but it's a nice feel when you're around there. A lot of home crowd feeling behind it, and the guys that are going to make the trek, the fans from Minot here, are awesome. So sometimes I think that's a little bit of why we get excited, is that there's so many passionate fans here in Minot that do travel with the team wherever we may be, Brookings, Aberdeen, Austin. It's a long hike, and our guys do it, and it's almost like they want to give something back to those fans that make the trip. So hopefully that's a part of it this weekend as well.
How much do you guys notice that on the bench when there's, say, 50 to 100 Minot fans on the road?
Well, a big thing for us is you see it as this community around the team is huge, and when you go there, it's not just going there and not interacting with our fans. Our fans are very good people away from the game and away from being fans. So when you can have conversation in the lobby before and they're waiting for our players to come out of the dressing room after, it shows a lot of the character of our fans too, and how passionate they are about this team and the group that we have here each year.
Now, before we keep going on about the matchup with Austin, you bring up the hockey community. What would this Craft Hockeyville, for fans who don't know, we've moved into the Final Four phase, voting over the next 2 days. You can text MESA, MEYSA, to 35350, and you can go to crafthockeyville.com and vote for the Mesa Arena 50 times that way as well. How much would being named Hockeyville USA mean to this community?
Well, I think huge would be an understatement for this community, but at the same time, it just shows how far the hockey has come in Minot, and how much awareness just having this Craft Hockeyville, being in the Final Four has brought more people out to, hey, there's a lot of good things happening at this rink with the youth hockey, the university with the Tauros, all the good things. There's figure skating going on at these rinks. The facility is a great thing. So from a hockey standpoint, I think it would be huge. From a city standpoint, I also think it would be huge, and hopefully everybody can get their vote in and be a part of that, and tell their friends to get their vote near and far.
Now turning our attention back to Austin and the playoffs, how important is it to manage, are you guys, the fatigue after a 60-game season, now this potentially long playoff run, hopefully, how much do you guys change the practice plan during the week? Do you guys do anything, especially with as physical as this last weekend was?
Well, I think things get shortened up. You're at a point now where you're not overly worried about the conditioning on your Mondays and Tuesdays, and you can shorten things up and be sharp during that time. I just came from the gym, actually, so we were just there and we were talking about re-energizing and just getting a good stretch in, and you're at a point now where it's, we don't have to move big weights or anything like that, and each guy knows what it takes and what their body needs, so it's listening to it, but at the same time, it's not good to go home and sleep from 12 till 5 and wake up, eat dinner, and then go back to bed. So we're sticking to routine, a good routine with the practice in the morning, workouts, and then different things going on in the afternoon, but just shorten it up a little bit and get to the point that we need to accomplish.
Do you guys worry at all about Austin's physical play having a lasting effect on the guys? Game one, it didn't seem to have an effect. Our guys were zipping around. Game two, the guys did look a little tired. It took almost 11 minutes to get the first shot on goal. Do you worry about being hit out of this series? Because I don't think Austin has the speed to skate with us.
No, I don't think we're worried about that. I think that our guys know that we're capable of playing more of a man's game than we did on Saturday night, and we learned a lot from that game too, I think, and what our makeup and identity of our team is, and just we don't have to be guys that go out and run around and hit guys by any means, but just to finish the checks and play competitive and finish on bodies and skate is a big part, and we'll look to do that this weekend, and I don't think that we're worried about the size of them. I don't think we're worried about the way they hit or anything like that. If anything, I think maybe Friday with a few of those, Gene wore a couple pretty hard. Maybe a guy like him, is a little hesitant, but those were pretty, they weren't the nicest of hits to put in.
Certainly.
In a nice way. So it doesn't matter what sport you play. I think you'd think twice a little bit on some of those. But this weekend we'll look to use our speed, and we'll look to finish on our checks as well.
Now, we've been here before. The last 3 seasons, splitting games 1 and 2 with Austin on the road. Now, I guess we're looking to sort of copy their script. They the last few years they've blown home ice advantage with us opening weekend, and then come here and taking it back. What's it going to take this weekend? Is it just maybe getting away from Minot and getting back on the bus and refocused, or what is it about maybe being on the road in the playoffs that might help?
Well, you just get away and you live the junior life, and it's eat, sleep, and breathe hockey, and there's no distractions that might be around when you're playing at home. But I think for us, we're excited. We got to focus on the 60+ minutes or whatever it may take on Friday before we can look to Saturday. Sometimes you get caught off guard when you're looking ahead too far, and that might just be 24 hours ahead. But a good week here to refresh, get the batteries charged up, and we'll be excited for Friday.
Last question before I let you go. Game 5, if it is needed, would be back here at the Mesa on a Monday night. What do you expect that atmosphere, if that game happens, to be like?
Well, we talked about how great our fans are already, but Monday or Friday, I think a Game 5, I think, would bring everybody out, and the Mesa would be rocking. You'd go back to maybe last year versus Bismarck in the first round when the place was packed, and you were trying to fight through people to get to the bench kind of thing. But I think we'd bring the atmosphere. I think our fans would do a great job of that. For our sake, hopefully you get it done in 3 and 4, and you don't have to worry about that. But if it does get to there, I think it just shows the true passion of our fans behind the hockey team here, and they'd be out in full force.
All right, well, thanks for coming in, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Ken.
That'll do it for us here with assistant coach Najee Dubé. We'll be back with Jack Murphy and Max Metler after this.
Thanks to your help, Tauros fans, Minot's Mesa Arena has advanced to the Final Four ranks with a chance to be named Kraft Hockeyville USA and win $150,000 in renovations and get a chance to host an NHL preseason game.
Phase 2 of voting starts today and it ends April 20th at crafthockeyville.com, or you can text MESA to 35350. You can vote 50 times online and 50 times by text each day. So go vote, Tauros fans, and get Minot's name Hockeyville USA.
Welcome back inside the Tauros locker room for this week's edition of Tauros Weekly. Joining me now, Max Metler and Jack Murphy. Max, we'll start with you. A vet, this is year number 2 for you here in the playoffs. How crazy is the atmosphere here during the postseason?
It is pretty nuts. It's a lot different from the regular season. Obviously, you're playing for your season in playoffs, so you don't have a whole lot of room out there. They finish more checks. It's so tight-knit playing. Yeah.
And Jack, for you, after you scored that first goal to open up the scoring on the season, just the fans in this place went nuts. What was that feeling like down on the ice?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Like you said, the playoff atmosphere is unreal. And so scoring the first one and just getting the fans going was a great feeling.
Now, Toro fans travel well, especially in the postseason. Max, I'm sure you remember from last year. Are you guys looking forward to going home as a couple of Minnesota guys? You know, it's technically a road game, but there should be 100, 150 Toro fans. What's it going to be like down in Austin?
Oh, for sure, I'm excited. It's not too likely you see your parents throughout the duration of 60-game season, so that's always nice when they're in the stands. It gives me like an extra ounce of motivation. So looking forward to that, and yeah, being in Minnesota, there's nothing like it, so I'm truly excited.
And Jack, same question for you. Just the atmosphere down in Minnesota. I know looks like you're probably going to have a pretty decent-sized group of family and friends there. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's not really a road game. I mean, there are a lot of Austin Screamers, and we can hear them on the ice, but you still have all of your family and friends there, and it's fun to play in front of them.
Now, is that something that the vets talked to you guys a little bit about, having been there last year, and they know what the playoff atmosphere in Austin's like? It's almost as crazy as it is here in the Mesa. Is that something you think you're ready for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Max, you were there last year. Do the opposing fans getting on you guys, does that get you all at all on the ice?
If anything, I'd say it helps us. It kind of, it gets under our skin, and we use that to our advantage, I think, is when they're screaming in our ear, we kind of like that. We know that we're upsetting them, silencing them when we score, if we have a big hit or something. So,
is that part of why the Toros have been so successful on the road the last couple seasons?
I'd say so, yeah.
Now, Max, staying with you for a minute here, you know, the top 2 defensive pairs, I hesitate to call them that with you on the quote-unquote third pair, have been pretty set most of the year. Brandt and Foose and Diddle and Ledouce. You've had a different challenge. I think you've done an excellent job being that third pairing guy and being forced to play with sort of a rotating cast between Colton Berg, Luke Davison, and now Joe Nathy. Is that harder, do you think, to have all those guys come in and out of the lineup on your other side?
It's a little tough, yeah, but I mean, we have a whole week of practice to kind of prepare for it. I think me and Bergie's game complement each other well. Like, he likes to jump up in the play and create scoring opportunities. I play more of the defense-first mentality game, so they go hand in hand there. And then Joe's been a nice fit too. He's a big body defenseman. He's been fitting in nicely. And then obviously Luke, being my roommate, we were pretty close, so kind of just got to know each other really well, and it was pretty easy to play with him too. So the challenge at first, yeah, but you kind of get to know him, and it's a lot easier once you practice with him too. So
now, Jack, you've had a similar challenge. You've kind of been up and down the lineup as far as which line you've been on. Do you adjust your style of play to who your line mates are, or not?
Not really. I'm kind of the same player no matter what line I'm on. And that's kind of what Marty expects from me, is that's the type of player I am.
Talk about your style of game. I think you're we're a pretty speed and skill game, and not that you don't have good hands or you're not as fast, but I think you're one of the few guys who can get to the front of the net and battle with some of the bigger bodies like Austin. Is that a role you embrace and take on, or is it? Would you like to, I know you had a pretty nice goal against Aberdeen coming down the wing. Is that what you'd like to be doing?
No, I absolutely embrace that. I enjoy the physical style, so playing Austin I think it's more fun, especially in the playoffs. So,
speaking about Austin, it seems like them and maybe Brookings are the two teams that have the most after the whistle scrums and maybe some borderline hits. How much do you guys worry about that, or does it get you off your game, or do you as a player who likes the physical stuff, do you just enjoy that?
I do enjoy that because if I know I'm not going to be receiving the hit, but I'm not going to let that happen to myself. So,
how about you, Max? Does that stuff bother you at all, or is that just part of the game and you enjoy it as well?
I mean, obviously it's not part of our game plan. We try to stay away from that as much as possible. But playoffs especially, it's very emotional and that stuff happens. I wouldn't say it bothers me. Again, I kind of use it to my advantage. It gets under my skin a little bit and play a little harder, I guess.
All right, well, we open it up as we always do to questions from fans on social media. And actually, Max, the first one comes from Murphy for you. So, Murph, I'll just go ahead and let you ask that one.
all right, Max, I know your Mankato buddies at home will really like this question. So, out of 100 tries in the Oklahoma football drill, do you think you could take down Adrian Peterson?
Thanks for the question, Jack. And yes, I truly believe I could. We've argued about this quite a bit, but a lot of my buddies say I could. There's no way I could, but I do think I can. I know you're a stats guy, Ken. 1 out of 100 times, I could trip him up. I could get a shoelace tackle, and he would touch his knee to the ground. That'd be considered a tackle. What do you say?
Well, if you're going to give yourself that, I don't think, no offense, but I don't think if you square him up that you're bringing him down. But if you go low, I think you might be able to get him at least 1 out of 100 times.
I'd say the other 99 I'd be in the ground buried, but one time I think I could.
Now, Murph, this one's from you from another Tauros, Steve Mather checking in. What do you think of the nickname Big Murph?
Well, as far as I know, Ken, you came up with it. And
It just sort of started on Twitter, yeah.
You're a smart guy, so I trust your judgment, and that's the answer I'll roll with.
Fair enough. All your teammates are checking in. Jared Brandt wants to know, Max, what's it like being the best-looking kid in Tauros history?
I have no comment for that. I'll leave Lucas Murray for that one when he's on here.
Fair enough. We'll skip the rest of your guys' teammates' questions and jump in with some from the fans. This is from Josh Coonrod on Twitter. He says, Max and Papa Murph, so there's another nickname for you. How are you guys going to stay focused on these games, knowing that you'll have friends and family and all over the rink on Friday and Saturday night?
Honestly, I think that'll help me to be more focused, just knowing that my family's there. I can just worry about playing hockey. I don't have to think about missing them. Yeah, I miss them, but when I can see them, it's not as tough to worry about.
How about you, Max?
I could agree with that. When they're in the stands, you know they're going to support you no matter what, so that's kind of a nice feeling to have when you're in such an emotional game.
Josh has another one for Max. What's it like coming down the stretch knowing as a 95 that this will be the end of your junior career whenever our season's over? And of course he says that won't be till after we win the Robbie.
That's a good question. It's definitely a surreal feeling. My time in Minot here has been anything I hoped for and expected, so it's crazy to think that it's almost over, but it'd be quite a way to go out if we did get the Robbie, and pretty confident we can. We have a pretty good team, so.
Now, this last question is from the both of you. It came from Facebook, and Miranda Schuler, who is one of the billet moms, and she says that a lot of the moms like to send goodies for the road trips for the guys to eat on the bus. So she wants to know, what would you two guys like specifically for the long ride to Austin?
Well, Miranda, you know I like chocolate chip cookies. And the chocolate-covered popcorn that you make, that's pretty good, too. Other than that.
How about you, Max?
I don't know. I'm not too picky when it comes to food. I like surprises, so a good surprise will probably get me, and I'll probably enjoy it. So.
And I'll chip in, Miranda. The Tauros staff is driving separate, so
Yeah.
if you wanted to send an extra care package for that car, we certainly wouldn't turn that away either. But thanks, Max and Jack, for jumping in this week, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks to your help, Tauros fans, Minot's Mesa Arena has advanced to the Final Four rinks with a chance to be named Kraft Hockeyville USA and win $150,000 in renovations and get a chance to host an NHL preseason game.
Phase 2 of voting starts today and it ends April 20th at crafthockeyville.com, or you can text MESA to 35350. You can vote 50 times online and 50 times by text each day. So go vote, Tauros fans, and get Minot's name Hockeyville USA.
Welcome back. It's time to wrap up this episode of Tauros Weekly. Before we go, Liberty Tech's 3 stars of the weekend. Third star is going to go to Grayson Gavin. He had the goal on Saturday night. He had an assist on Friday night as well. So Grayson Gavin with 2 points will be our third star of the week. Second star of the week goes to Gunnar Rivers. He stopped 46 of 52. That's a .920 save percentage. I think if we continue to get that kind of goaltending from Gunnar, we'll be fine. And the first star of the week, we talked to him just a few moments ago. Jack Murphy had 2 goals in the win on Friday night. Other things to clean up before we get out of here. If you are going to the games in Austin, Tauros fans, shoot us an email or call the Tauros office 852-0101, 701-852-0101, or email me, koda@minotauroshockey.com. Again, that's koda@minotauroshockey.com. We have tickets for you for the Tauros section. You can be with all the other Toro fans. We can make as much noise as possible as we invade the spam can this weekend. Last thing before we go, get out and vote. Get Minot named Hockeyville USA. Go to crafthockeyville.com, vote for the Mesa Arena, or text MESA, M-A-Y-S-A, to 35350. Better yet, do them both. You can vote 100 times a day, 50 times via email address, and 50 times via text over the next 2 days. Get out, vote for the Mesa Arena, get my not named Hockeyville USA. The hockey community here is more than deserving. It would be fantastic for the youth community to get an NHL game up here, not something all of the hockey players up in Minot get a chance to see very often. That'll do it for this week's episode of Tauros Weekly. We'll be back next week with the playoff heroes from next weekend. We'll figure those out after the games. Make sure you get your questions in on social media. We'll see you next week here on Tauros Weekly.